Hi again. This is H. Victoria Hargrove Atkerson again. This is my fourth session, I believe. Um, I got a few questions that I wanted to address before I go any further with my readings. I'm doing Stones Along the Path because that is the first book that I published. It's a wonderful love story, and it's a bicontinental romance between an African American and an African. So you will enjoy it simply because it's a clash of cultures and personalities, of course. Um, I think we've already established that the two people who are the main characters, which is Jessica and Akinyele, they both have very strong personalities, and they are staunch believers in their background and their faith and their own sense of what they think is right and wrong. I think the views of Akinyele in this book are pretty much chauvinistic because in his culture, um, the role of a woman is much different from the role of women in the United States, even in Black America, where we hold to certain traditions. And I think more so than any other race of women, Black women are, can be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more um, strong in their position as far as their rights are concerned because they had to overcome so much. Not that we're better or anything, it's just that I think we have done the work and we have experienced the oppression and the violence, and we fight harder to get what we need from the society. So, Akinyele, who is pretty much a playboy on the scene of the world. He meets Jessica in this book, and they have a torrid love affair. It's a great story, guys. Um, you'll love it because it talks about family life in Africa and also family life in the USA. I love this cover, and I'll continue to say it. That is one of my favorites. I dearly love the colors, and I love the images. So um, pick up this book. It's really great. You can buy it on Amazon.com or Kindle, and you can also get it from my website, which is www.hvictoriaatkerson.com, and pick it up at Barnes and Nobles also. Okay. So I got a request from one of my readers, and she's an inspiring writer. She wanted to know which method did I feel is best for someone to start on a project, a writing project. And I think there are no rules for this, although the textbooks will tell you the best way to do a story is to outline it back to front and do the sub outlines and plot development, character development. I think all of those are good, and I think if this is your project and it sincerely is your project, you need to own it, and it doesn't really matter how you start it. I find that I use every method I outline. Sometimes I just sit down and start writing the story. It's as simple as that. And the most important thing you have to remember is to write the story. And you want to write in. I like to say you write into the story, and you write out of the story. And for the most part, most stories have their own ending. You just have to recognize it as a writer. Um, my answer to another question, which was, how do you know when this story is over? Well, I think that's one of the easiest things because I think the story just kicks you out. It kicks you out. It tells you when it's over, and you'll know because you won't have anything else to write. So I think sometimes you may want to write to a point in the story. So you have a dramatic central focus of the story, and you want to write toward that climax, and then you want to write out of it with resolutions. And once you do that, I think you're pretty safe in doing pretty much what you want as far as the flow of the story is concerned. But one of the things I do love to tell people, and one of the things I do love to practice when I'm writing, is to develop the characters. I don't like to write about anything I don't know, and I don't think anyone should. So my preference is to start with the characters. And the characters can also be a city or a town. It could be a quilt on the bed that your great grandmother made. It could be anything like that. But you have to know everything about what you're writing about. And if you are doing fiction or nonfiction, I think the subject matter lends itself to the truth. It also lends itself to your knowledge of the subject. So as a writer, you want to inform yourself and make sure you know everything that you're supposed to know about this item or this person. It's virtually impossible to write about things you don't know because your reader is going to detect that. So you want to take a minute and make sure you do the research. There's tons of places. Your library, there's so much online you can do. And you can use other people. I do lots and lots of interviews with couples, especially when I'm writing about human experiences. I always like to ask questions and talk to people about their sexual lives. A lot of us are not comfortable talking about sex, and a lot of us are not comfortable talking about their intimate relationships. But I find that most helpful. And I, as a writer, one of the things you want to do is to listen. It's important to ask questions, but it's most important that you listen to the person who's speaking, okay? So you take care. Be sure to look me up on my website, which is www.hvictoria@hoggrow@christian.com. Look me up on Kindle. Look me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm all over. And stop in Barnes and Nobles if you have to. There's so many ways you can get this book and other books, but the one we're talking about discussing right now would be this one. And I will be doing a reading from this book, another reading. This will be my third reading from this book because it had such a wonderful response from readers, which I absolutely love. Many people have commented on what this book means to them, and that's saying something. I remember a friend of mine, a cousin, she read the book and she rereads it all the time. She keeps it by her bed, and she said, "Look at the book. I think I need to get another copy." And I'm like, "I think you need another copy too, because it was so worn and beat up." I was like, "What did you do to my book, woman?" So it's a book that you can keep with you all the time, and it's a love story that you can hold in your heart forever. And I think that means more than anything, that it's a good book and the characters are well developed when that happens. So enjoy this. It's a really interesting trek into Africa, and it also goes to some very, very wonderful spots here in Philadelphia, which I absolutely love. So I tried to share those with you, and including a portion of the book that talks about being down in Center City, going fountain jumping. That's something I did with my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I don't have children myself, but I married a man with 2 children, and those children had children, so by proxy, I have children, and they're around me all the time. And I also have nieces and nephews who had the pleasure of coming to Philadelphia every summer of their lives. So I feel like all of them are my children. So when I talk about my kids, they are actually my kids, because they spend a great deal of their time in my home and in my life. They're just great. I don't know of any 1 or 2 people who I don't embrace that has been in my home for any length of time. We adopt, in the fashion of my mother, we adopt people and hold them in our hearts as a part of the family. Because we have the saying, once you join this family, it's like the mafia. You can't get out. You can't get out. You can't divorce us. You know, you may divorce somebody in our family, but you are still a member of our family because we don't let go. We hold everyone dear, and and I think it makes the tribe more interesting and more diverse. So embrace and enjoy your love affairs, enjoy love, extend yourself and your heart. And I think you'll find what you're looking for. And if you have any more questions about techniques and any just anything, any time that you want to hear about how I spend my time, I'll be glad to share that to you with you also. I'm a pretty open person, so I don't have that much that I can't talk about. Uh, but it's a joy, and I enjoy these sessions. So thanks for listening, and thank you for purchasing the book and giving me your feedback. I think it's really great, especially you young writers or first-time writers. It's it's precious. It's really precious to spend this time with you because I can say, hey, I knew her when, you know. So keep the questions coming, and I'll check them every day. Take care, and God bless. Love to you.